Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. I hope you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves, and blessings to all of you wonderful people out there. Today I'm reviewing the latest live release from Steve Hackett. It's 2 discs and 1 Blu-ray. The Lamb Stands Up Live at the Royal Albert Hall. This is the outer shell box, if you will. A beautiful, beautiful crimson color in the lights there, giving us a taste of what occurred. And then when you pull it, the set out, you get a purple cover, also very beautiful. The back cover with the track list and a picture of Steve. Again, it's like so many live albums today that have more than 2 discs, you get a double gatefold. What's really cool is that Steve tells us, it was always a boyhood dream to play the Royal Albert Hall, etc., etc. London's most prestigious venue, and this is not the first time he's played there. Since 2013, there's been quite a few or a couple of live releases where he's played here, so it's not his first rodeo. And then when you open it up again fully, you get everything. No booklet though, which is a little disappointing, but it's all right. It's the music that's, of course, the most important. Let's talk about the lineup. Of course, Steve on guitar and vocals, Craig Blundell on drums, the wonderful Roger King on keyboards. He does a wonderful job of stepping into Tony Banks' shoes. Wonderful job here. Jonas Reingold on bass, guitar, and vocals. Nad Sylvan on vocals, and the main vocalist here, and Rob Townsend on sax, woodwind, keyboards, percussion, and vocals. And some wonderful special guests as well. Amanda Lehman on guitar and vocals. She does a wonderful job, coming in many times since 2013 thereabouts to do the vocals for Shadow of the Hierophant. John Hackett, Steve's brother, on flute, doing a great job stepping into the shoes of Peter Gabriel. Ray Wilson on vocals, and the wonderful Steve Rothery on guitar comes in on a song or two. The guitarist, as you know, from Marillion. Now, here's my analogy for this album and much, if not most, of what Steve Hackett has done live since 2013, and the Genesis and the Steve Hackett discography in general. You ever eat something sweet like cake or pie, usually cake, tiramisu, whatever, and someone turns to you, you're with friends, family, that kind of thing, and someone says, yeah, it's a little too rich for me, and I've never understood that. But hey, again, to each his own. Everyone hears things differently. Everyone has their different taste, in this case with food. That makes sense. Of course, art, same thing. But for my own palate, whether musically, artistically, food-wise, nothing is too rich. It's rich, and it's a good thing. Again, just my opinion. And that's what I think Steve does so well here. The music is so rich, and it's a good thing. He takes you on a journey, as always, not just with each song individually, but the whole package. You can look at everything that he does as songs that, yes, stand on their own, but even though they're meant to do that for the most part, you have just a wonderful selection of songs. The synergy between the track listings is just so dynamite that it's an entity of itself. Now, if you talk about let me give you the track listing. For this CD, People of the Smoke, Circo Inferno, These Passing Clouds, The Devil's Cathedral, Every Day, Hands of the Priestess, A Tower Struck Down, Low Notes and High Hopes, Camino Royale, Shadow of the Hierophant, and then The Cinema Show and Isle of Plenty. Then disc 2, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Fly in a Windshield, Broadway Melody of 74, Hairless Heart, Carpet Crawlers, The Chamber of 32 Doors, Lily White Lilith, The Lamia, then It, then Dancing with the Moonlit Night, and let's see if I'm missing anything. Yeah, Firth of Fifth, and then Los Endos to wrap things up. The DVD, or rather the Blu-ray, is a little different. It tells you on the back let's see, this way. Here's the Blu-ray stuff. Oops, here. And then up top above here is the CD track listings. So it's very rich, as I said, and that's a good thing. It takes you on a journey, as I said. What a wonderful collection of songs here. He does not do The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway in its entirety, but what he does here is a wonderful selection. Think of it as a suite, if you will, of the songs taken from that full-blown, wonderful prog rock album masterpiece. Now, he does interrupt the flow with respect to track listings, but not the flow musically, by inserting Hairless Heart between Broadway Melody of 74 and Carpet Crawlers. But let me tell you, this instrumental between the two works, and it would fit in nicely on the original Lamb Lies Down on Broadway studio version. Low Notes and High Hopes, the 8th track, has some wonderful bass to it. I love it. My only criticism is I would have picked something else than it. It's a song I've talked about before that I have a love-hate relationship. I won't go down that road again. I may do a separate video on that in its entirety. It would be a brief video, but I have things to say about the song. But I get why it's here. You want to wrap the story up, that kind of thing. So I do appreciate it, and yet at the same time, I'm a little remiss about it. Dancing with the Moonlit Night is amazing. One of the highlights, always going to be amazing, right? And of course, Shadow of the Hierophant, a staple in his lineup most of the time, if not all the time, is wonderful, wonderful vocals. I can never remember, from Amanda Lehman. Camino Royale is full of textures. I love the song. And of course, you have a couple songs from his debut, which definitely need to be here. Hands of the Priestess and A Tower Struck Down. Marvelously executed here. The Devil's Cathedral is a standout. It's all good here. It's all great, actually. This is amazing. But The Devil's Cathedral is a standout track, if you will, from here. And what can I say about Firth of Fifth, my favorite Genesis song of all time, is that, once again, Hackett has outdone himself, and he's taken the song and stretched it a little bit, and it's marvelous, it's beautiful. And the same thing with the closing track, Los Endos, on the Blu-ray. And the CD, it's just a marvel of a song as well. You got some guitar added to it, like on some other live versions, like Live at Hammersmith's 2013, where some heavier stuff that wasn't on Seconds Out in the studio. Of course, Steve's want to do that because he, wants to make some things and changes to show us, his interpretation of the song and that kind of thing. Let's face it, Steve was held back often by his other bandmates, and sometimes, like on Seconds Out and The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, his guitar wasn't high up in the mix enough, and I'm not the first person to complain about that. But yeah, it's perfect here. I love the Genesis stuff, even when he's low in the mix, but the treasure trove of live stuff that we've had from Steve since 2013. There's other stuff before that, but here's where he's, since 2013, adding much more Genesis stuff and revisiting Genesis over and over and over again. It doesn't get stale, folks. This is definitely worthwhile to have in your collection with the other 9 or so albums that he's put out live since 2013. It remains to be seen if he's going to do a live album that is, got Trick of the Tail in the title, where he does most, if not all, the songs from Trick of the Tail. That remains to be seen. He's done some of that, but not all of the whole album. But he doesn't have a live album attributing that song or album title. So fingers crossed for next time around. But yeah, if you're not sure if you want to get this CD and you're a Steve Hackett fan, I say pull the trigger if you can afford it. It's not over expensive considering it's 3 discs. It's only been out for I think 3 weeks, and I'm late in reviewing it, but I just heard it over the weekend, so I wanted to not rush into things, even though it came in a few days before that. So yeah, I think that if you're a fan of Steve Hackett, you get this. If you're a fan of Genesis, you get this. because it has a nice selection, as I said, of both Genesis songs and solo stuff. And Steve Hackett's one of the, I think, still underrated guitar players in our time. You also have an interview with Steve here, which I've not listened to, and I've not watched the DVD. Sorry, I've not watched the Blu-ray yet, but I will at some point. But yeah, so let me repeat a couple things. You get this because of the Devil's Cathedral, Hands of the Priestess, A Tower Struck Down, Low Notes and High Hopes, Camino Royale, Shadow of the Hierophant, the tracks from Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Hairless Heart included in that mix, even though it's not from the album, Dancing with the Moonlit Night, Cinema Show, Isle of Plenty, For the Fifth, and Los Endos. So there you have it, folks. Put down in the comments if you'd like, if you've heard this, if you own it, that kind of thing. Do you like it? Do you have any misgivings? What are your hopes for him in the future? That kind of thing. Anyway, I'll talk to you next time. See you now. Bye.